What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Roster Bubble Series video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when the live stream pops up your jobs. Appreciate y'all coming back. Also, share this out. During this time of the NFL offseason, a lot of content creators struggle to get views like they do in the regular season, like myself. Some try to go the route of picking the headlines, like the smallest shit in the world, but others try to be creative like myself, and I thought the Roster Bubble Series would be a good lead into training camp. And obviously it's going to be more fun and just a thrill to have training camp and football back at the end of July, beginning of August, and then it's going to segue into the regular season. So yeah, please share it out to anyone you can. Helps the channel, and we could reach more milestones that way because of you guys. Also, 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts for Twin Bill and Big Blue in the Bronx. With that being said, hope you guys are enjoying your July 4th weekend. And today's candidate for the roster bubble is former Eagles defensive back Michael Jacquet. He also spent some time with the Jaguars. In these types of videos, if you aren't familiar, I go into a player that's on the roster bubble. Then I go into their background, competition, how they could win a spot, how they could lose a spot, and then a prediction at the end. So Michael Jacquet, he was out of Louisiana as an undrafted free agent in 2020, picked up by the Eagles. He was waived and then signed to the practice squad after the preseason. He was elevated onto the active roster a few times during the 2020 season. Then he was actually waived by the Eagles and signed to the practice squad after the 2021 preseason. And he was released from the practice squad. Then the Jaguars signed him to the practice squad. He played in one game for the Jaguars, and that was pretty much it. And then the Giants signed him on May 19th of 2022. In terms of statistics with Michael Jacquet, he played in 7 games and started 2 of them for Philly in 2020, and in 2021 he played in 1 game, of course, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. In terms of coverage statistics, not really that good for Michael Jacquet. He gave up 20 completions on 28 targets. That's a 71.4 completion percentage against, 380 yards given up, 2 touchdowns, and 137.5 passer rating. So not very good all there. And he also had 2 pressures, 1 sack, and 18 combined tackles on the season, and no recorded statistics with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, in terms of competition, who is he facing? He doesn't play safety, so he's going to be facing the corners. Jaron Williams, former UDFA out of Albany, has been with the Giants the last 2 years. Zion Gilbert, a guy out of Florida Atlantic, who is an undrafted free agent this year, coming out of this year's class. Darren Evans, undrafted free agent out of LSU. Khalil Dorsey, former Baltimore Ravens, so he is familiar with the Wink system. Played about 6 games, I believe, in 2020 with the Ravens. Maurice Kennedy played with the Ravens, the Jets, the Cowboys as a veteran corner. And Rodarius Williams, 6th-round pick last year out of Oklahoma State, tore his ACL in Week 5 last year against the Dallas Cowboys. How can he win a spot on the roster? He's got to stay healthy, and he has to make plays in the practice and in the preseason. He's got to get loud somehow, but at the same time, he can have a quiet preseason and be productive at the same time. And he's got to play well in man coverage, and that will help him beat out the young guys, because we all know that besides the draft pick, Cordell Flott and Adoree Jackson and Aaron Robinson, those 3 guys are locks to make the roster. Darnay Holmes, maybe not. These guys are not locks to make the roster. And when you think about it, this team overall is very inexperienced. It's a lot of youth. Maurice Kennedy is probably the most experienced corner that's not a lock to make this roster. Now, we obviously did a video on him a few weeks back. Please check it out. But with that being said, Kennedy's probably the most experienced. The second most experienced is probably Michael Jacquet, to be honest with you, if you're talking about cornerbacks, because he's played 8 games in his NFL career. Jaron Williams has played a few, not too many, though. Zion Gilbert hasn't stepped on the field yet. Darren Evans hasn't stepped on the field yet. and Rodarius Williams has played 5 games in one season. So not much experience there, but he's got to beat out those younger cats, and he's got to play well in man coverage. Now, specifically, I don't know how Jim Schwartz styled his defense in 2020. I want to say they were mostly a man coverage team because he liked going after Jesus Christ. I want to say he liked going after the passer, but at the same time, some zone defenses do that. And I know Jonathan Gannon, who's their defensive coordinator now, he mostly runs a zone scheme. But once again, totally different coaches in their styles. So how can he win? He's got to stay healthy. He's got to make plays, stay quiet at the same time, and be productive, play well in man coverage, and try to beat out those younger cats. So how can he lose? Struggle in man coverage, somehow get injured, and have a quiet camp. It's, once again, I don't know if it's his position to lose. I don't think it's his spot to lose. I still think he's on the bubble, of course. But as I said earlier, there's 3 guys currently locked in for a cornerback spot. Everyone else is competing for the 4, 5, 6, maybe even 7 spots. And one thing that works against him is his experience isn't very good. You know, Maurice Kennedy, he's a guy that has better experience. Jaron Williams, it's limited, but he's got better experience. He's slightly better. But if he struggles in man coverage, it's not going to help him because that's what Don Martindale relies on. That's how he runs his defenses, and that's how he likes his corners. Corners that can play man defense. But he's got to stay healthy, and if he doesn't, that's an automatic out in terms of not making the roster. In terms of my prediction, which I'll get to in a second, I do want to go over something real quick. Shoutouts to AK. I don't know his YouTube stuff. I'll put it in the description because he did help me out with Michael Jacquet and some of the stuff and, you know, giving me some notes on him. So, Jacquet, according to AK, practice squad player who got in a couple of games a few years back, he said he feels like he has the potential but doesn't know where the potential can go. He's hard, he's physical, but he gets beat easy and bites on a lot of routes. He does play routes pretty well and makes plays, so there is some upside, but he doesn't know how much upside there is, and he doesn't know what the upside is. But I appreciate AK for giving me some notes on Michael Jacquet. As for my prediction, I don't have him making the roster. He could make the practice squad. It all depends on how he plays in the preseason and in training camp, but I wouldn't say totally, cut him off. You know, he's not making the roster. If one of these guys gets injured, like a Maurice Kennedy, like a Jaron Williams, if any of those guys gets injured, he's possibly getting on the roster because of injury. It's kind of a situation where your friends are in the DB room and your friends are your teammates, but at the same time, if they go down, you benefit from it because you get a bigger chance. So right now I have Michael Jacquet not making the roster, but he might if somebody gets injured or if any of these veteran cornerbacks play horrifically. So appreciate you guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you know when the live stream pops to your jobs. Appreciate you all coming back. Please enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.